So today we are talking about climate change. The climate, according to politicians and the UN and thousands of anonymous scientists, have come to the conclusion that the Earth is going to warm up 1.5 degrees. So the deal is that this isn't even true. It's not even factual. And in fact, physics, math, and geometry all say it's impossible. I know what you're thinking. How can I make such a grandiose statement like that? It's actually really easy. The physics involved here require pressure for an increase in temperature. Now, this is a pressure increase that has to be uniform all over the globe. So without a uniform increase in pressure, you cannot have a 1.5 degree uptick in temperatures around the globe. It's impossible. Furthermore, as you increase in altitude, the air becomes thinner, the pressure decreases. Because the pressure decreases, the air molecules that were at a higher energy state at the lower altitudes are further apart from each other. Therefore, their heat dissipates because the air becomes thinner. Again, the decrease in pressure changes the temperature as you increase in altitude. Without a change in uniform pressure of the atmosphere of the Earth, there is no possible way, scientifically, physically, mathematically, it's not possible. Global warming is not real. Now, it's just this continual lie that's being perpetuated. And what's funny is that governments are so tied into this, like politicians. They sound so stupid when they cite anonymous scientists, 6,000. They all agree. No, yeah, nobody's put their name on it, number one, and nobody should ever put their name on it because it's wrong. It is completely and utterly a lie in the face of the actual science. Now, a lot of people like to include things like the polar ice caps melting. Okay, so they go and they take this footage of the polar ice and, oh, look, a big chunk of it just came off. It just broke off, and that ice is gone forever. This is what they want you to believe. This is what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that as that happens, as you witness this filming of this chunk of ice breaking off of the ice cap, that is going to raise the sea levels, and that all of our cities are going to be inundated and underwater by insert whatever year into the future you want. It doesn't matter. It could be next year, it could be next week, could be 30 years from now, 40 years from now. And it all is predicated on, if we don't, this whole fear-mongering aspect of, if we don't get a handle on this, it's going to end very badly for us. So in every single one of those complaints, or every single one of those statements that politicians make, not one of them includes actual measures to prevent the alleged rising oceans from inundating our cities. So there's no works being put up. There's no dikes. There's no drainage systems. There's none of this. There isn't any talk of anything like a plan to keep this from happening. There's no talk of it. There's no talk about putting up barriers. There's no talk about putting up walls. There's no talk about pumping systems, things like that, to keep these cities that are allegedly in danger of being inundated with this flood water, okay, this rising sea level. There's no talk of actually building something or engineering something to prevent it, okay? So that's clue number one, is that if you had a problem, no one is putting forth any solid plan to protect those areas. So it really doesn't matter, even if that was true. However, the science, the physics, the chemistry of this whole event, this ice breaking off and disappearing and raising the oceans of the world, it isn't real. Do you know why it's not real? I'll tell you why it's not real. Because it's incredibly hilarious how so many people could get such a fundamental, elementary idea about this wrong. So when ice melts, so ice floats because it's less dense than water, okay? Now, when it melts, its density changes. Its density changes, and what that means is the molecules move closer together, okay? So ice doesn't increase the volume of water when it melts. So it doesn't add more water to the ocean, okay? It doesn't add more. It actually becomes denser, so it takes up less space. And so, like, literally everything about, anytime anyone mentions climate change, especially politicians, I can't help it but just be like, God, how could these people, how do they even get along in life? How do they even get along in life? That doesn't even make any sense. Like, none of the science that they're talking about is real. Okay, the events they're talking about aren't real, and anytime they get called on it, and someone actually puts forward that, like, yeah, I don't know who you're talking about, what scientists are coming up with this, because they're completely wrong. Like in the most absolute sense that they could be wrong. This is like Elizabeth Warren's blood test, her DNA test. It's like the absolute opposite of what these people are talking about. This climate change thing that they're talking about, it's fake. It's a lie. It's not even real. Like, science disproves it. Like, every single one of those sciences that I've brought up, that I've named, disproves this subject of climate change. It isn't happening. Now, when they get into trouble, they get confronted with the facts on it, the science, the actual science on it. They run back to the old, you're against the environment. You're against the environment. Oh, how could you? How could you? Now you're getting shamed because some anonymous corporate polluter, that's who you work for now. You're going to get shamed into it because of an anonymous, like, they never say X company is dumping X chemical and that's causing an environmental catastrophe. That isn't what they're saying. What they're saying is that that company that you don't know about, that it may exist, it may not exist. It's somewhere in the world. It's in a country that we actually have no control over. And that company is doing a large amount of damage to that environment somewhere in the world. But it's going to affect us all because, because everything's connected. It's all connected. So what's happening in China is going to affect everyone. What's happening in Los Angeles is affecting the entire world. So this is what they want you to believe, that out there somewhere in a place that you can only imagine where it is, people who you can only imagine who they are doing something very nefarious that you should imagine is very bad. When in fact, every place that actually has problems with pollution and perhaps maybe some chemical dumping in their environment, or maybe a system that is causing an environmental issue, is known. Everybody knows about it. It isn't something that's hidden. It's something that's known. You can't travel through China without seeing all the smog in front of your face. Okay. The air quality there testifies to the fact that there's a large amount of pollution coming out of that particular region of the world. What does all that mean? Well, it means that it's known who the polluters are, but nobody has the authority or the ability to take on these polluters. So they're going to get away with it. So everybody else in the world, and this is, I guess, what they think, is that everyone else in the world has to come up with their fixes for their environment and their land and their air quality and all this other stuff to offset the fact that you have no control over somebody else who is a serious corporate polluter somewhere else in the world. Okay? That's what they want you to believe. See, the whole thing is it's a house of cards. If you blow on it, it falls over. It's not real. And to base tax structures, to base laws on this unproven science. Not only is it not proven, it's false. Okay, it's a fake science. These are fake numbers. It's a fake boogeyman. It's not. You're not going to wake up on Christmas Day and it's going to be 100 degrees at your latitude. I'm pretty positive that's not going to happen. Okay, and so all along they've been wrong. The entire time they've been wrong. It's fake. It's not real. Like back in the 70s, they used to say it was global cooling. The whole world was going to go through another ice age that was going to kill off millions of people. Didn't happen. In fact, they figured out that, well, that's not even possible to happen. And for the very reasons that I've been saying, that people just aren't, these politicians are not smart enough to be where they are in life. Okay? They're not smart. They don't know what they're talking about. Never, ever take their word for it regarding the science. Because these people, I don't know who these scientists are, okay? And I guarantee you that nobody's actually going to put their name on this. Nobody's actually going to put their name on the study. We've done this study all over the world. The world is heating up. 1.5 degrees. We've got till 2030 to solve this problem. It's fake. It's fake. It's not real. The science says it's not real. And it's all done to dupe everyday people into giving away money. It's all wrapped up in money. It's fake. The whole thing is fake. Okay? It's meant to control people. It's meant to siphon off their money. It's meant to mentally manipulate people who already maybe haven't received a fair enough education to a level that would allow them to reason this out and realize, hey, that actually isn't true, and that actually isn't going to work. So it's a really ridiculous situation that we find ourselves in with elected officials who continue to get elected to office, and then nonstop generate these fake policies and these fake laws based on fake science. Okay? It's a lie. So laws have to be based on fact. Laws have to be based on truth. Laws are there to keep everything fair for everybody. So the fact of the matter is that what they want is to use these made-up problems to stay in power. Because if they don't have these made-up problems, there's no substance behind any of their policies. There's no substance behind their economic policies. There's no substance. They don't know what they're doing. I can't emphasize that enough. They have no idea how to do that job. So countries all over the world have these types of individuals who are idiots. They have no business being in politics. They have no business administrating in government. And yet they keep popping up and they keep making up all of these things just to manipulate people and to get them into power. Once these people get into power, they use all of these made up things to stay in power. So the whole thing, it just continues absurd, ad absurdum. It doesn't stop. It's when one thing is proven not true, they just make up another one. They just make up another lie. So all of these things that these liberal globalists, these environmental warriors, we're going to save the world, say we have to do it. It's our duty. It's fake. It's all fake. They're not doing anything. They're not. It isn't real. The climate change subject is not real. Okay, it isn't happening. So we've gone through the science. We've gone through the physics of it. We've shown just very simply, very easily, that none of it is true. And so about the only thing that people can do at this point is get upset that they've been found out as frauds.